This question is eating me up. How am I supposed to answer this? Compare your newspaper report with the autobiographical extract, analyzing form, structure, and language. How do I even begin to answer that?
By comparing the texts, of course.
Oh my god!
Hello, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I hear you have a question.
Whoa, Naruto, from hit show Naruto. What are you doing here?
I heard comparative analysis can be tricky, but here's 3 easy methods that make remembering strategies easy peasy.
Wait, what's comparative analysis in the first place?
Comparative analysis is when you take into account the similarities and differences between 2 texts. In this case, it will be your essay about Usain Bolt's race and his autobiography.
Oh, but I'm willing to try it, if it means I'll pass my exam. So tell me about those strategies I heard about.
Let's start off with the half and half method. You will use your first paragraph to give a summary of the original article. It will cover what the text set out to and the context of the article. Paragraph 2 will go over the basic conventions of the article. This includes taking into account the structure and format of the article along with basic grammar practices. Paragraph 3 will focus on the language and lexis used in the piece. What tone does the words give off? And why are they trying to give off that tone? After all that, we can focus on the second article. Paragraph 4 will talk about the overall approach of the second article, along with its goal, and how it will affect the structure of the article. Be sure to take into account the different contexts between the 2 articles. Paragraph 5 will focus on the contrast, the language, and conventions between the 2. How do their tones differentiate along with word choice? Paragraph 6 will explain use of counter, arguments, and text patterns. Paragraph 7 will mention form, structural features, and use of sentence variety.
Oh, I get it. Spend 3 paragraphs going over the important building blocks of the first paragraph, like conventions of writing and the structure.
Yeah, and what else?
And the second 2 can focus of the second paragraph, and how the 2 contrast in their respective areas.
Right on, but don't forget, even though this option is helpful for comparing the first text in one go, it can restrict direct comparison between language use.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. What's next?
The second option, comparing texts within paragraphs. This method begins with giving a broad summary of the main goal of the 2 texts, while also giving broad comparisons. The second paragraph goes over the grammar and sentence structure of the 2 texts. Third paragraph sets up use of language and word choice between the 2 and their context. Fourth paragraph highlights the structure, how they are different, and why they are needed in situations. Lastly, explore the literary devices in each text.
Okay, this one seems a lot more straightforward. What's the catch?
The pros of this method include its effective approach for details and thoughtful connections. The cons, however, is that it can be difficult to cover everything and can leave you with long, unwieldy paragraphs.
Makes sense. What's after that?
Now, with our final option, switching between texts through alternate paragraphs. The first paragraph begins the same way as the previous 2 methods did. Then the second paragraph will be about the use of conventions in the article. Third paragraph includes the use of conventions in the letter. Fourth focus is on the use of language and lexis in the article. Fifth focus is on use of language and lexis in the letter. Sixth mentions use of form and structure in the article. Seventh mentions use of form and structure in the letter. The 8th is about the use of structural or linguistic devices in the article. And lastly, paragraph 9 is about the use of other structural or linguistic devices in the letter.
I see, so go over everything by going back and forth between each text.
Correct. This option leaves you with clear, good coverage of materials, but it can also lead to too much writing and repetitive structure.
All right, I think I got it now.
Make sure to consider each technique and use whichever you feel most comfortable with. Now, let's put these methods into use. I will demonstrate using the second option. Our first paragraph would be about the contrasting written goals between the article that discuss Usain Bolt's race from a reporter's perspective and Usain Bolt's race from his own perspective. The article aims to broadcast the key points of the race, which is why one of the first things mentioned is Usain Bolt's win. In contrast, Usain Bolt's perspective focus is on the tiny details, since the main point of a biography is for the reader to get an idea of what the author is thinking. The second paragraph will cover the grammar and sentence structure between the two. Usain Bolt's biography use is onomatopoeias like pow and bang to emphasize the sound of the starting gun going off and how it felt to Usain. He also used is more simpler sentence is than the reporter's article, since from his perspectives his thoughts were coming in short bursts. In contrast, the article use is more information-packed complex sentence is since it has a goal which it intends to complete in under a certain amount of words. The third paragraph will go over the use of language, tone, and word choice between the two and why. You must consider the context behind each text to begin to understand the word choice, and then the tone. The biography's context would be that Usain is merely reciting his own experience, is from his race. That means he is able to be subjective and creative in his interpretation due to it coming from his personal experience. While the article is focused on reporting an objective view, so less subjective words would be used. The tone for the two will contrast as well, since Usain's text is more long and drawn out, since in his point of view, that is how the moment felt. The article describes the key points of the race while keeping it fast-paced and exciting for the readers, since they could not experience it in person. The fourth paragraph will include information about the different use of perspective and tenses. The original article is written in a first-person point of view in present tense, whereas the report is written in a third-person view and past tense. Lastly, when all is said and done, go over the literary devices and see what they both have and lack. Literary devices spanning from metaphors, alliteration, onomatopoeia, and more are always greatly appreciated. Now you know how to do comparative analysis using two texts. Go in there and pass your English exam. Don't forget to like and sub. Bye-bye.